talk about all of this and all the Russia developments with Democratic Representative Benny Thompson of Mississippi. He's the ranking member on Homeland Security. Thank you. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So it looks like the House Freedom Caucus and the White House are getting along a lot better right now. Pence had that meeting last night. Are you at all concerned that perhaps Democrats are losing out on this moment to work with the White House and work with the president specifically on health care? I mean, he came out blasting members of the House Freedom Caucus and made it sound a whole lot like he'd like to work with you guys more than some of his fellow Republicans.
Well, you know, easily said than done. Democrats are willing to work on improving the Affordable Care Act. What we have to do, though, is become partners. To my knowledge, there's been no outreach to Democrats. All the Democrats I know are perfectly willing to work with anybody to improve the health care, but obviously we're not interested in penalizing people. We're not interested in kicking people off their existing health care. We want to improve it.
So, Congressman, you are the ranking member of the Homeland Security Committee, so you have your eye, obviously, on a lot of these developments with Russia. And this morning, you know, we're hearing from Carter Page, who was a foreign policy advisor to the Trump campaign, that he had contacts or was contacted by Russian intelligence a few years before. We also learned of this meeting in the Seychelles, the Washington Post is reporting, between someone who thought he was speaking on behalf of the Trump campaign or the Trump transition and Russian officials. What questions do you have about this news this morning?
Well, John, to be honest with you, a lot is going on. And because of that, a lot of us are supporting this independent commission. There are just too many things happening on a daily basis. That's almost the next shoe falling. And so what we have to do is to make sure that a body is put together that has credibility to look at these issues. So I'm not certain what will happen tomorrow. But to be honest with you, it's no secret. The Russians are trying to compromise our election system. They want to make sure that they are the person or the company in charge of running things. And they use spies and covert operations on a daily basis. All the briefings that we've had around this issue as members of Congress tell us that this is what the Russians are doing. This is their modus operandi. So it's not news. It's only news when we hear about it for the first time.
Someone else who's calling for an independent investigation of this is Republican Senator John McCain. He just called for that this morning on CNN's New Day. He also said yesterday that if Susan Rice, former National Security Advisor under President Obama, did ask for these names to be unmasked because of political purposes, that would be a dereliction of duty. What's your response?
Well, I'm not, I don't think it's dereliction of duties. I think it's within her purview to ask for it. And if it's on record and you can determine through an independent commission whether it was lawful or not. And so looking down the road, a purpose of why someone did something can only be interpreted and investigated by this independent commission. I would think that Ms. Rice, in her capacity, can ask for any information. And if she did it in a manner that's lawful, it's fine. But again, because every day something else is coming up, I think it's only fitting and proper that this independent commission be put together to look at everything and to have the authority to do that and do a good job.
Right.
The Intelligence Commission Committee, it's a problem. Chairman Nunes is compromised whatever objectivity that existed there with his recent actions. So clearly, the independent commission is the direction we should take.
And you've actually proposed a resolution to have the House Homeland Security Committee, which you sit on, get involved in some of the investigation and hold hearings. Look, I hear what you say about Russia and whether or not Russians contacted or coordinated with Trump associates during the campaign is a completely separate issue as to whether who was unmasked or masked and why. But do you think there are legitimate questions about unmasking by an outgoing administration here? Look, if this had happened during an outgoing Bush administration with an incoming Obama administration, would it be nothing?
Well, let me say this. I have no problem looking at anything, and we will go where the facts lead us. If the facts said this was wrong, and it was wrong. But let's deal with the facts. The law is the law. We can't conjure up what a purpose was. Let's go with whether or not the authority was there and whether the risk associated with getting the facts was also there. So I'm not going to condemn Ms. Rice, but I am encouraging that commission to look at any and everything that occurred during this time.
Democratic Congressman Benny Thompson in Mississippi, great to have you with us today. Thanks so much, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right.